हेलो। हाय स्टूडेंट्स। सो कैसे हो आप सब? मेरा नाम है चिराग धीवर एंड आज का जैसे हम देख सकते हैं जो सेशन है वो है आस्क मी एनीथिंग मैथ्स। एंड सो द सेशन फॉर्मेट जो है that would we have a sort of जिस बारे में हम करेंगे एंड वी विल टॉक अबाउट ऑल्सो we'll try to keep the maximum in English और थोड़ा थोड़ा बीच में हम हिंदी यूज करेंगे. Like like wherever there is a need to explain things, I'll try to keep it in English so that everyone can understand it irrespective of the language, है ना? मतलब there can be some students जिन्हें हिंदी understand करने में issue हो सकता है, so for them we'll try to keep it in English, but बाकी बीच बीच में हिंदी references होंगे. Alright, so सेशन स्टार्ट करते हैं हम. ओके, सो द फर्स्ट टॉपिक है ना, जो क्वेश्चन दैट इम्पोर्टेंट टॉपिक्स फॉर जेई मेंस. ऑलराइट, सो थिंग इज कि टॉकिंग अबाउट इट इन टर्म्स ऑफ मैथमेटिक्स, है ना, लाइक जब मैथ्स हमारा क्वेश्चन है, कंसर्न है, तो उसमें कुछ स्पेसिफिक टॉपिक्स हैं विच आर लाइक स्लाइटली इम्पोर्टेंट, या फिर जिनके एप्लीकेशंस हम बोल सकते हैं कि दैट कैन बी सीन इन अदर टॉपिक्स एज वेल, है ना? मतलब ट्रिग्नोमेट्री है, इट इज बीइंग यूज्ड इन सम अदर टॉपिक्स. इफ यू आर सॉल्विंग सम क्वेश्चंस वहां पे ट्रिग्नोमेट्री है और यू नीड द कॉन्सेप्ट्स फॉर इट. ऑलराइट, सो ऐसे वन इज um the font is too bold. Okay, then we have binomial theorem. Then there is permutations and combinations. And finally we have integrals, integration and derivatives. Okay, so our today's class, what we'll be doing is we'll focus more on these topics itself. हमारे trigonometry, binomial theorem, PNC, integration and derivatives. So we'll try to understand in जो भी core concepts हैं या फिर basic problems है ना, वो सब, and we'll try to identify and revise the properties that are needed with it. Okay, so coming to the first question, not the first actually, ये तो हमारा second question हो गया. So just give me a minute. All right. Now, what we can see over here is inequality, है ना? 24x is less than 100. All right. So we can solve it initially. Our main concern would be finding x when we have to choose what value to pick, है ना? So first case में what we'll do is like we'll just simply solve this. राइट। 24 को ये साइड ले लिया एंड वी कैन रिड्यूस इट फर्दर। नाउ when x is a natural number, so it is evident that 25 upon 6, right? So it is less than 5, है ना? So natural numbers that are less than 5, 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? These are the only natural numbers that are less than 25 upon 6. So directly for this case, solution क्या हो जाएगा हमारा? 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, when they say that x is an integer, so all the values which are less than 25.6, वो क्या हो जाएगा हमारा solution set. So what all are the values that are less than 25.6? 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, -1, right? Up till what? Minus infinity. ठीक है? So when x is an integer, at that time our solution set would be this. And when x is a natural number, at that time our solution set would be this. So what happens is in many cases एग्जाम में ना हमें ये दिया जाता है कि um, you have to find the solution given when x is of a specific type and we fail to recognize it or we fail to acknowledge the fact, है ना? हम हमारे मन से सॉल्यूशन निकालेंगे फॉर रियल नंबर्स या फिर नेचुरल नंबर्स या फिर इंटीजर्स एंड वी वोंट सी कि हमसे क्या पूछा गया एग्जैक्टली एंड ऑप्शंस में ऑब्वियसली दे विल ट्राई टू फूल अस, है ना? दे वांट अस टू मेक मिस्टेक्स। सो ऑप्शन दिया हुआ है for important to keep as written. Okay, chalo, let's come definition of binomial example, and we have to explain binomial. Okay, so let's do it. You know, को हम पूरा डिस्कस करें, ठीक है? So what binomial theorem क्या करता है? Like if I have a algebraic expression of the form say x plus y to the power for the disturbance students. Okay, so we were talking about binomial theorem, है ना? So what happens is कि binomial theorem में हम deal करते हैं with the expansion x plus y to the power n. Okay, so we can find the values of terms like x plus y square, x plus y cube. But तुम लोग बोल सकते हो कि सर इसकी वैल्यू तो हमें ऑलरेडी पता है, वी नो द एक्सपांशन x plus y square is x square. But then when we talk about terms that are say how to solve these, है ना? So for these questions we need binomial theorem. Okay, so binomial theorem का जो representation है is All right. Your n is your power, है ना? So if I say मेरा जो x plus y to the power n है, if my n is 2, considering this case, क्या आएगा? 2c0 plus, now this is your combination, है ना? NCR value is 1 plus, all right? Similar way, if n is 3, same way you can do the same process higher values of n, है ना? But note में n should be greater than equal to 0 in integer and nck is positive. ठीक है? ये जो रहता है is your binomial coefficient. Note this, you can write it as x to the power k, y to the power n minus k. Okay, let's take an example, a little bigger value. You have to solve on your own. I'll give you a time period of like minute. सर सॉल्व करके मुझे कमेंट सेक्शन में इसको do this. Wait, we'll solve पहले basically and then I'll give you another question to solve. उसका expansion कैसे आएगा? We'll use the formula. N कितना है? 5. Okay. Y is 3. So 5c naught plus 5c2 plus 5c3 plus 5c4 plus 5c5, x की पावर होगी 0, 3 की पावर 5. All right. So simplify this and you will get x to the power 5 plus 5 times x to the power 4 into 3 plus 10x square into 27 plus 5x into 81 plus 3 की power 5. You'll solve and simplify this. We'll get x to the power 5 plus 4 90x3 plus 270x square plus 405x plus 243. All right. So ये जो थियरम है हमारा बाइनोमियल थियरम, इट इज ऑल्सो कॉल्ड एज बाइनोमियल एक्सपांशन. ओके, मतलब binomial expansion, and from that we get the formula. So in the exam, you might be asked questions like they might have given you an expansion, say x plus y to the power k, and so let's say n only, where n can be say between 0 to 100. and they'll ask you like tell the coefficient of seventh term or middlemost term. ठीक है? So when questions like these comes, you should know what term would be which way, right? तो अभी जैसे हमने expansion देखा, so your this term nc not power n by 0 plus to the power n minus 1 by 1. Okay. This is your first term, second, third, and so on. Okay. I hope इतना clear है. So we'll solve more questions about binomial afterwards. This was the main theory about it जो discuss करनी थी and the question types that can come related to binomial theorem. Like these are one of the few important variations. Okay. Now next topic जो है हमारा that is permutations and combinations. So what is permutations and combinations? ठीक है. तो स्टूडेंट्स दिस इज नथिंग बट ये तरीके हैं टू सिलेक्ट सर्टन ऑब्जेक्ट्स. ओके. लाइक मान लो मैंने तुम्हारे सामने एक बॉक्स रख दिया. ओके, आई हैव अ बॉक्स which is full of different chocolates. Okay, there are 10 different types of chocolates, and now I ask you to choose 5 chocolates, any 5 out of those 10 different chocolates. ठीक है. Suppose मान लो there is Cadbury, there is Ferrero Rocher, there are eclairs, there is Kit Kat, etc., etc., etc. Okay. Now I ask person one, है ना, एक बंदे को मैंने पूछा select any 5 chocolates. He'll select any 5 randomly, whatever he loves. I'll ask another person to select 5. He'll select any 5 topics, I mean 5 chocolates of his own. Okay. So the different ways in which people can select certain objects from a given group of objects is called your permutation and combination. ठीक है? These are the ways to select certain objects from a group of objects. अभी ये तो मैंने बहुत मोटी मोटी डेफिनेशन बता दी, राइट? आई टोल्ड यू द ओवरऑल डेफिनेशन, वेरी जनरल डेफिनेशन ऑफ what both these things individually are. But now we'll see both these topics individually. Okay, we'll talk about permutations. What is permutation? So permutation, it refers or relation relates to the act of arranging all members of a set into same sequence or order, into some sequence or order. And what are combinations? You know, we'll do an example, don't worry, individually of both. This is a definition which you need to know. Okay. Combination is a way of selecting items from a collection such that the order of selection doesn't matter. Now pay attention to what we have just said. ठीक है? क्या बोला है? Permutation relates to the act of arranging all members of a set into some sequence or order. What are the words we are stressing on? Arranging some sequence or order. What is combinations? Selecting collection order does not matter. Okay. So I'll tell you what permutation and combination में very easy differentiating line is. Okay. We all have been to school, है ना? School गए हैं सब लोग. So we used to have these morning assemblies, right? सुबह सुबह what was the thing the teacher used to ask us to do? है ना? मॉर्निंग असेंबली में टीचर क्या बोलती थी? सबसे पहले बेसिक थिंग, ऑल ऑफ यू स्टैंड इन अ लाइन, राइट? नाउ हाउ डज परम्यूटेशन एंड कॉम्बिनेशन कम इन दिस? जब टीचर हमको बोल रही है, लाइक कंसिडर देयर इज अ क्लास ऑफ 30 स्टूडेंट्स. आई नो schools these days have more students. My school also had more. We had 40-45 students in a batch. But for example, 30 students, okay, 15 boys, 15 girls. Okay, now boys and girls in two different lines, right? Now the teacher is asking the boys to stand in how? Height wise line? Height wise, right? And ascending order of height. And to the girls also, same instructions. जिसकी हाइट सबसे छोटी है वो सबसे आगे, and as the height increases, taller people at the back, shorter people in the front. Okay, this was the permutations, right? कैसे हो गया? क्योंकि यहाँ पे order is mattering. स्पेसिफिक ऑर्डर बोला है मैंने, है ना? जो छोटे हैं वो आगे, जो लंबे हैं वो पीछे. This is your permutation. So when we have to arrange students in such a way where the order is mentioned, the sequence matters, right? If I say कि नहीं, जो you guys can just stand in any order. ठीक है? Now if I say I just want you all in one line, you can form one line however you want. है ना? Any boy can stand anywhere he wants, irrespective of his height. This is your combination. है ना? In how many ways can we have 15 boys stood in a line? This is your combination. Okay. Now we'll check the formulas of both. So a permutation is a choice of r things from a set of n things without replacement and where the order matters. है ना? Permutations is your P, and for given R and N, your NPR is n factorial upon n minus r factorial. ठीक है? NPR is n factorial upon n minus r factorial. Now talking about combination. Combination क्या है? Choice of r things from a set of n things without replacement, of course, and order does not matter. Okay, so here NCR, you also denote this as NR, है ना, कहीं कहीं पे ऐसा notation represent होगा. So be careful, aware that it means NCR and not NPR. This is your NPR upon R factorial. What was my NPR? N factorial upon R factorial. Got it यहाँ तक? Now let's take a question. This is a very common and popular question in permutations. ठीक है? So given है तुमको, in how many of the distinct permutations of this letter do the four, ठीक है, in how many conditions do the four eyes not come together? Question is clear. Mississippi word, it has four eyes. One, two, three, four. Now when I arrange these letters in the all different possible ways, there might be cases where eyes are coming together and all four at any position. So there are how many cases in which these four eyes do not come together? Okay. Now this is also very popular question है ना, इसको हम एक तो डिक्शनरी क्वेश्चन बोलते हैं. Okay, so they'll give you a random word and they'll ask you कि this specific word when it is arranged in say alphabetical order of words, alphabetical sequence जिसमें arrange कर सकते हैं ना, like अभी it is Mississippi, so I comes before M, so the words alphabet that are starting with I would come before Mississippi. So what exact word number is Mississippi? ठीक है? So make sure that you practice questions of that type. But for now, we'll focus on this question. Okay. First thing is, first step, write the count. Count as in M कितनी बार आया? एक बार. I four times. S four, P two. Okay. Now, when we have to find the number of permutations, and now it has word repetitions. In this case, repetition matter करेगी. That I1 is first, I2 is first. No, there is repetition. I is I. Okay. So number of permutations would be 11 factorial upon 4 factorial, 4 factorial, 2 factorial, which is your 11 into 10 into 9. 4 factorial cut. When you solve this, certain values from here would get cancelled and you would be left with 24, 48, 48, 4.8, 11, 44 with 0, 3, 4, 6, 5. Okay. Now, these are the total number of food can be fed with Mississippi with these. Now we want the cases in which the eyes do not come together. Cases in which eyes do not come together. So what we'll do? We'll take all the eyes together. Okay, so this method, क्या बोला है मैंने? We take cases where all four eyes are together and we treat them as one letter. तो इसको हम बोलते हैं block method. Whatever things we want or do not want together, we club them together and treat it as one. So यहाँ पे okay. Now total number of letters कितने थे? कितने हो गए? 4. ऐड कितना हो गया उसका? 1. Letters left 8. Now the number of permutations left are 8 factorial upon 4 factorial 2 factorial, which is 840. Now in 840 cases, eyes are together. और हमको पूछा क्या है कि कितने केसेस में आई जो है वो साथ में नहीं रहेगा. सो व्हाट विल डू इज सिंपली सब्ट्रैक्ट 34650 minus 840 is equal to 33810. All right, this is your final answer. Now let's take another question, combination से related. Consider करने एक small village है where there are 87 families. ठीक है. Out of these 87, 52 have 2 children max. Okay. Now 20 families are chosen for some program. Okay. Out of these 87, कोई नेता वेता आ गया, उन्होंने एक योजना डाल दी, and now they are like, for some program we are choosing you for assistance. Now out of these 20 families that are chosen, 18 families have at most 2 children. Okay. 87 families में there are 52 जिसमें 2 children max है. Now these people will have chosen 20 families. Out of these 20, 18 families have at most 2 children. So you have to tell in how many ways can this choice be made. Okay. Now what we'll do is, suppose there are 87 families, right? Out of this 87, the number of families with children is 52. कितनी families बच गई? 35. Alright. So what the following, like for the number of possible choices be, मेरी 52 families है, उनमें से they are choose 18 people and जो मेरे बचे हुए 30 families from them they are choosing 2. Total कितना होना चाहिए? 20. All right. Now what more choice can be made? I can have 19 families. डेवलपमेंट में क्या बोला है यहाँ पे? एटलीस्ट 18 families have two most children. ऐसे सिलेक्ट करना था. So and they can have 19 families with two most children. So it would be 35C. Again, total 20. Or all the families I have can have 2 children. So total number of combination would be the sum total of all these. It would be 52C 18 plus. Okay. This is also one of the good questions, famous questions which you can expect जो एग्जाम में देते हैं हम. Next is trigonometry. You know what trigonometry is? एंड वी ऑल नो ट्रिग्नोमेट्री में रेशियोज होते हैं ना, वी हैव साइन थीटा, कॉस, tan. So I'm extremely sorry for the loss जो हो रहा है आज, but then we'll still try to continue the session. And in the next class, I'll make sure that the stable, like the connection is stable, so that we don't have such disturbances. क्योंकि तुम भी तुम्हारा time देख के lecture attend कर रहे हो, so I have to make sure from my end that proper content is delivered to you. Okay, ठीक है. Now sin theta. Okay, so I have a triangle, right angle. Okay, this is my theta. Now opposite, adjacent, hypotenuse. Now how to remember this? That sin opposite upon hypo. This is adjacent upon hypo. This is opposite upon adjacent. So there is a trick. You can like either remember it as so ka toa. Right? In my preparation days, this was how my faculty or teachers made me remember. So if this is working for you guys, we'll make sure that इस तरीके से तुम याद रख रहे हो उसको. ठीक है. सो क्या हो गया? साइन ऑपोजिट अपॉन हाइपो, का कॉस एडजेसेंट बाय हाइपो, टोआ tan opposite upon adjacent. Yeah, so का टोआ. Now cot is 1 upon tan, cosec 1 upon sin, sec 1 upon cos theta. 1 अपॉन tan क्या हो जाएगा तुम्हारा? एडजेसेंट अपॉन सेक क्या होएगा? और सेक क्या हो जाएगा? Okay. Now these are your trigonometric ratios. Now where the students miss the values, है ना, is your trigonometry tables. है ना. Trigonometry का topic जब भी खोला रहेगा, we might have seen a table which gives you values of all these fields at different angles and degrees. 30, 45, 60, 90, 180, 270, 0, pi by 6. Like these are like one of the basic few values that we usually deal with when we are talking about trigonometry. Okay, now you guys must be like कि sir values तो हमें पता है होती है, table दिया हुआ है, why are we drawing it again? Because we have to understand and know that how do we remember or draw this table by our own selves. ठीक है. तो इसमें ट्रिक है, सिर्फ साइन याद रखना है हमको. दैट टू कैसे? जीरो से लेके 1 तक will fill it for the value 0 to pi by 2. These two columns will deal later on. Okay, 0 to pi by 2. Centermost value will have 1 upon root 2. ठीक है. So your values would go like 0, 1 upon 2, 1 upon root 2 and root 3 by 2. ठीक है. These 5 values you have to keep in your mind. 0, 1 upon 2, 1 by root 2, root 3 by 2, 1. For cos, flip कर देना है. 1 would come over here. रूट 3 by 2 यहाँ पे, ये यहाँ पे, ये यहाँ पे, ये यहाँ पे. ठीक है. So how would the values come? 1, root 3 by 2, 1 upon root 2, 1 upon 2, 0. Cool. Sin cos पता चल गया. Tan. What was your tan? Tan was sin by cos. Take the ratio. जीरो बाय वन, जीरो। वन अपॉन टू रूट थ्री बाय टू, रेशियो, इसका रेशियो, इसका रेशियो। फॉर कॉट वन अपॉन टेन, नॉट डिफाइंड। इसका क्या आएगा? रूट थ्री, वन, वन अपॉन रूट थ्री, जीरो। कोसेक वन अपॉन साइन, sec is वन बाय कॉस। Now, for pi and 3 pi by 2, sine is 0 and minus 1. Cycle चली pi by 2 तक. For pi and 3 pi by 2, it is 0, minus 1. Minus 1, 0. बाकी चीजें सेम प्रोसेस में we'll find out. Not defined, not defined 0, not defined and minus 1, minus 1 and not defined. Okay. So, this way we'll find the value. क्या किया हमने? We only remembered the values that were 0, 1 upon 2, 1 upon root 2, root 3 by 2 and 1. Now just solve another question. ठीक है? Sin 3x and cos 3x. Now we'll recall two formulas in this. Split sin 3x as sine of, same for cos. Formula sin a plus b cos a plus b. क्या होएगा ये? Sin a sin b? No. Sin a cos b plus cos a sin b. Cos a plus b क्या है? Cos a cos b माइनस sin a sin b. क्या हो जाएगा फॉर्मूला यहाँ पे? It would become your sin 2x. What is sin 2x? Sin 2x is 2 cos x sin x. And this cos x plus cos 2x क्या है? 1 minus 2 sin square x sin x. Club the terms. Sin square x into sin x हो गया अपना 2 sin cube x. Let's do it for cos. Cos 2x cos x माइनस साइन 2x sin x, है ना। एक्सपांशन का जो फॉर्मूला है वो लगा दिया हमने। अभी क्या आएगा आगे? cos 2x है हमारा 2 cos square x - 1 इंटू cos x माइनस, विच इज इक्वल्स टू। We are doing nothing. We are just expanding it using basic formulas that we know. 4 cos cube x minus 3 cos x. चलो, सो नेक्स्ट टॉपिक इज इंटीग्रल्स। तो द थिंग इज कि अभी हमारे पास में टाइम नहीं है ज़्यादा, बट आई थिंक मे बी वी कैन एक्सटेंड द सेशन लिटिल. So let's take a question. In the next class, we'll discuss the other theory and important formulas related to it. Okay. So question is 1 upon x minus x3. You have to integrate this function. Now, we'll split this. Okay. 1 upon x to 1 minus x square, which is equal to, let this be form. All right. Clear? ओपन करना है इसको. ठीक है. Once this is done, equate the coefficients. क्या कर रहे हैं हम? इक्वेट कर रहे हैं कोएफिशिएंट्स ऑफ एक्स स्क्वायर एंड एक्स एंड कांस्टेंट टर्म. सो व्हाट डू वी गेट? विल गेट b plus c as 0 and a is equal to 1. Now when we solve these equations, we get a 1. वैल्यूज जो है ये हम सब्स्टिट्यूट कर रहे हैं जो फर्स्ट इक्वेशन था हमारे a अपॉन एक्स प्लस वो वाली में. फाइन. Now we integrate this. इंटीग्रेशन ऑफ 1/x dx log x, इसका क्या आएगा? 1/1 - x का log ऑफ 1 - x to the power 1/2 minus 1 plus x. All right, which is log x minus log. Now this would come off to be this is your final answer. Okay. Now let's do one thing. We'll just note down the important formulas in integration and then end the class. Okay. First formula is integration of 1 dx x plus c. Integration of a dx. Integration of. Friends, इसमें हम क्लास थोड़ा स्पीड रन कर रहे हैं. We won't be covering all the topics in depth. If you want the depth topics covered इसमें where we have discussed all the proofs that how so and so value is coming, how we are getting the integral and all, then I would advise you to go and see our detailed sessions on these classes. Integration of 1 by x dx. We saw this just right now. It was ln x plus c is integration x to the power plus c. A must be greater than 0 and your A cannot be 1. Then there are some important formulas. Okay. And then we have more 4 5 formulas, important ones, after which we'll conclude the session. Okay. You can note down these formulas. मैं अभी तुमको ये formulas I'm just making you revise and making you go through it. You can note them down because in certain cases you see that the questions जो है हमारे, right, like your log x, you can directly substitute the values. Okay, if you know, you need not know the logic behind it, but in case if you know how integral works, what value comes, you can directly substitute them. Okay. हमारे in-depth classes on individual topic, there we have covered how each proof is coming. So in case if you want help with that, you can go and check the videos that we have. Same. If यहाँ पे अभी sin n के जगह पे cos n x dx है, it would be 1 upon n cos of n minus 1 x sin of x plus just watch the formulas and what connection they have, है ना, जो भी relation है उनके बीच में, order है जिस तरीके से, just keep a watch on it, है ना, जो भी pattern है, try to memorize them. We'll try to make sure है ना कि इसके ऊपर हम example solve this classes, so with the usage of the formulas you get better acquainted with them. Okay. The last two formulas are not very common or like won't be of much use to us, but then the other formulas are important. But just in case, you know, अगर कभी कोई question आ जाता है और if you are needed to solve it, you know how to do it. Okay, all right. Friends, so with this we'll just conclude the session for today. And जो भी हमारा इंटीग्रल वगैरह के टॉपिक्स थे, permutations and combinations, binomial theorem, we just touched and brushed up the topics from at the very surface level and discussed what are the different type of questions जो इसके ऊपर आ सकते हैं, and rest will meet again in the next class. Okay. And also, from meeting and had to stop for certain reasons, and the flow of class was slightly broken. So my sincere apologies for it, and I'll make sure कि अगले class में ऐसे नहीं होता है. Okay, so you can leave the session for now. We'll meet for the next session. Ask me anything का, and I'll see you guys there. Thank you so much. We discuss why session में I just clear with and so you keep doing these formulas because को काम आएंगे for your exams from all point of view. Okay, their usage and short tricks है ना कि कहीं पे कोई expansion and you can see that okay it is of so and so form. All right. Okay. Thank you so much for joining.